Alan Williams will not play on Tuesday versus the Heat. Wow. He's not even with the team. But the Suns didn't even bother to mention this. This report came as the first quarter was wrapping up. With Williams out, Alex Len gets a nice boost, and Marquise Chris will have to play more center. Well, that's just great. That was a little write-up by courtesy of Roto World. By the way, Roto World, I will acknowledge one of the Rotos, one of the 8 million. I think they were the first, so I like Roto World. But how about that news, huh? So some of us played Alan Williams. Raise your hand if you played Alan Williams on Tuesday. I did. The judge certainly did. He was under 6K on almost every site. He had his last 12 games, 9 of them he had double-doubles. So it was a really good play, right? What could go wrong? One of the safest centers in the world post-All-Star break. But after lineup lock, I looked. He was only 3% owned. 3%. I smell something fishy. The curious case of Big Sauce Williams begins. Dun, dun, dun. Let's start the show. Hold on, I'm trying to get my theme music. What a disaster this is. Hold on, it's coming. This episode of DG's Courtroom is sponsored by Draft, a daily fantasy app where your chances of winning are almost 3 times better than on FanDuel or DraftKings. On Draft, it's draft day every day. You can do a simple snake draft for one day whenever you want. Drafts take just minutes to complete. Download Draft now. Be sure to enter the promo code DFBPOD when you download to get a 100% deposit bonus. And just like that, we are off. Welcome to the show for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017. Man, let me give you a little quick rundown of what's going on in the judge's life. So I spent about 3 hours, maybe more, today working on behind-the-scenes IT stuff to try to improve the sound quality of the podcast and a variety of other issues because we are moving to Dash Radio. Very glorious, right? But behind the scenes, it is not glorious. The judge, I'm a soul crusher. I'm a dream killer. I am one of the dumbest people in the world when it comes to any IT related issues. So it's been a brutal night for me trying to figure out a bunch of different things behind the scenes. So you got to bear with me. Right now, I'm currently recording on Audacity for the first time ever. I'm still using the stupid Google Hangouts in case I can't figure out Audacity. I'm trying to figure out how to switch like waves to MP3s and all these different files. It's very confusing for the judge. And, I'm just in a sour mood. Also, I'm having chest pains. I'm pretty sure I could have a heart attack any minute. I'm having a tingling sensation in my left hand. I can't figure out if I'm just so mad at Blake Griffin or if I'm actually having a heart attack. So if this is my last podcast, I love you all. Thanks for listening. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Like I said, it is Wednesday, March 22nd. An 8-game slate on tap for a Wednesday. Very glorious. Because normally on Wednesday, we can get like 12, 13, 14-game slates, which are overwhelming, right? Now the good part is that sometimes on Wednesdays, we're also in like a glorious location because there's beautiful ladies or attractive males everywhere. On this, 8-game slate, we're basically like Austin, Texas or something like that. A very nice city, lots of nice options, but it's not overly glamorous. By the way, I'm your host, Daniel Green. You can find me on Twitter at Daniel A. Green 1. And before we start the show, please do 3 things. If you've been listening to the judge for this entire NBA season, which is now, almost 70 games through, and you haven't done these 3 things, you are a dream killer. That's right. When you look yourself in the mirror next time, whenever it is, you are going to have to say to yourself, maybe you'll make a sign too. You know how I have a sign that says, I will not play John Lure. Maybe you'll make a sign. I am a dream killer. If you have not done these 3 things for the judge. 1, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. As you guys know, usually I'm leading off the show, reading reviews. But that Big Sauce Williams news, man, did that get me pretty irate. The fact that he was to me, he was maybe the second safest center on the slate. And to have him only 3% owned, when he was under 6K, and like I said, 9 of his 12 last games have been putting up double-doubles. He's just a consistency monster. So how in the hell was he only 3% owned? And there was no news whatsoever that he was not going to play. The Phoenix didn't even announce it until the second quarter. He had some gastritis issue with, I don't know if that's the stomach or what the hell it is. But man, luckily, I was outside walking the bailiff when I found that out. Otherwise, I would have thrown a bunch of different stuff. But once we get into the Dream Killer segment, I can kind of let you guys know what I found out. I did some digging. I didn't find out a whole lot, but something certainly smells. Certainly some collusion, some fraud, and I'm not entirely sure what the hell went down, because he should have been at least like 18% owned on this slate. So that was upsetting. But anyway, please rate, review, and subscribe. I am leading off the show normally with glorious reviews that you guys are really witty. You guys are really smart, really creative. So leave me a nice little funny review. Or if you want, if you can't do that, just do a little 2-second review, give me 5 stars, and move on with your day. It really does mean a lot. Again, like for whatever reason, when advertisers and people like that are looking at how a show is doing, they look at stupid things, like in iTunes reviews. How many reviews does he have? How many stars? So that it does go a long way. Also, when I do tweet out the link for the show, please give your good friend the judge a retweet. I know you want to hit the like button because everyone hits the like button. It's easy, right? But give me the retweet, please. We need to expand the audience base. March is a brutal month. After 70 games of the NBA, listen to other podcasts. The guys, they all sound like this. Welcome to the show. Beeler Booker, Beeler Booker, Beeler Booker, Beeler Booker, Beeler Booker. I mean, so, it's not easy to do a podcast every day. It's free, right? I don't think you guys are paying. So I'm trying to get more followers. So if you could retweet out the link, it means a lot to me. Also, tell a friend, tell a sister, tell a loved one, tell whoever you're cheating with, if you're cheating, which I don't condone, but I understand. Tell them to listen to the show. Bring them to the judge. Get them away from Roto Trash. Get them away from Sleepy Grinders and all the 28 other Roto sites out there. Bring them to the judge. So what else can we talk about? Let's jump into Chambers, shall we? How about that? Man, I really do have chest pains, guys. If something happens to me, please, someone call 911. Hopefully someone will check up on me, make sure I'm okay. I did appreciate a lot of you guys did let me know that I do have to keep the show to an hour today. So thank you for that. So we started the show at 3:41 Eastern. So I'm going to try to stop the show by 4:40 Eastern, which is, God, I'm so tired, guys. By the way, if any of you have any tricks for like staying up at night, I could use them. Send me all the tricks you guys have. Because, I'm hurting. It's game 70. So, all the other guys are resting. I don't get to rest. I want a day off. I'm so tired. And especially, I'll be doing the show, too. And then I look over at the bailiff, my lovely French bulldog, whose name is Ed Harris. And he's sleeping. He's lounging. He's chilling. It's, man, I wish he could at least help me out with the show a little bit. Also, I need a producer. If any of you guys want to be my intern for free, you can come stay with the judge at my apartment. I don't know where you can play with the bailiff. I can't pay you anything because I lose a fortune on this podcast. But I don't know. But I need a producer that can handle all the IT stuff. If anyone is IT savvy, that's what I need. Anyway, let's do some Chambers, shall we? We all love Chambers. Glorious. All right. I feel a little better with the music there a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear that through. Oh, so by the way, the sound effects, now I'm doing them differently than I did in the last couple of days. The last couple of days, I edited them in after the show. This time, I'm trying to do them live, so I don't have to spend like another hour and a half with the editing process. So again, I'm testing some things out. Is it going to sound entirely 100% great right now? No. But hopefully by the time in the next week or so, I will get all the details sorted out, and everything will be going smoothly by then. But in the meantime, please bear with the judge. All right, so Chambers, as you guys know, we are starting an unbelievable head-to-head style bracket challenge on the Judge of Chambers that I'm creating. And if you wanted to participate, all you had to do was do 3 things. You had to follow @DG Courtroom on Twitter. You had to tweet if you wanted to participate in FanDuel or DraftKings, and then tweet your username for either FanDuel or DraftKings. So the time to do those 3 steps is over. And I'm currently creating the brackets. The plan still is to start that on Thursday. So I think that's still going to happen. If you made the cut, you're probably going to get some type of message from me, probably a tweet or something, or DM, probably tomorrow at some point. Worst case scenario, we don't start the bracket until Friday because the other person who's supposed to be helping me with this is on vacation, and I've not heard from him today. So he is a dream killer. That's right. He knows who I'm talking about. But don't worry, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super pumped to start that, and the plan is still to start that this week. So I will be in touch with you, the details regarding that, if you qualified for that. I couldn't fit in everyone, guys, because it's just administratively, it's impossible. This again, if I had people helping me, I'll do all this stuff. It'd be a hell of a lot easier. But I'm just one guy. I'm just one little man. All right. In terms of Chambers, and some of you may be asking out there, what is Chambers? Chambers is just the most important DFS tournament in the world. The best players, they travel from Australia, from Melbourne, from Puerto Rico, from Costa Vallarta. Is that even a place? I think I just made that up. But anyway, they travel from everywhere to enter the judges' chambers. It's the best DFS players in the world to do battle. We have run them on FanDuel, on DraftKings, and our lovely sponsor, Draft, which, by the way, download the app Draft. And when you do, you use the promo code DFBPOD. Another thing, if you haven't done that, you are a dream killer. So please do that for the judge as well. So on Tuesday, though, we had 2 chambers on FanDuel. The winners, Jeremiah, put up a big score of 349. I think I saw some people who won GPPs put up scores of like close to 400 because not only did Boogie go off for over 70 FanDuel points, you still had some guys like DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler, put up over 60 FanDuel points. So some guys put up big lines, even though there were tons of dream killers on this slate. But big scores were definitely out there. And Jeremiah, who's the number 2 ranked player in the power rankings, took down one of the chambers. So congrats to him. He will be a number 1 seed in the head-to-head style bracket tournament. And MK Knutson, who's had a good week, I think, last couple weeks in chambers. Congrats to him. He took down the second chambers on FanDuel with a score of 299.9. Barely beat out B. Zaretti with a score of 299.4. So it was a razor-thin margin there. On DraftKings, Derek Ismail, a really good DraftKings player, won that with a 297.5. So congrats to him. Chris Hearn took second, and ES Frank 3 took third. So congrats to everyone who won some money in chambers on Tuesday. And by the way, so none of you tweeted me about why I played that song in the background regarding chambers. So I'm disappointed in all of you. So all of you guys are dream killers as well for not answering me. There's a reason. So on Wednesday, can anyone out there, anyone in the land, out of the 5,000 listeners, 6,000 that we get, tell me why that song is playing in the background during when I'm doing chambers info? I just took a sip of water. So now, by the way, also, I'm using a new microphone for this show for the first time. I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. I took all the bailiff's money for pets. I'm spending it all on all this equipment I have. My apartment looks like a mess right now. So I just took a sip of water. But I wonder now, with this new Blue Yeti microphone, can you still hear my slurping? Is my infamous reviewer out there? Is he still going to yell at me for taking drinks of water during the show? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll have a new glorious review tomorrow saying, Judge, I didn't hear you slurping, so now I give you 5 stars. I take back my 1-star review. Drink all the water you want. All right, let's go into the Emmy-nominated segment of... Man, I see the thing is that now I need to play all these sound effects live, and it's just not easy to do this while I'm trying to talk and multitask. But here we go. Let's test it out. Maybe it will work. Hopefully it will. Emmy-nominated segment, Dream Killers and Dream Lovers. Ah, man, I love this segment so much. It brings me so much joy. Even when I have a bad night and I know there's going to be a lot of dream killers, just the fact that I know I get to play that sound and bring you guys this segment, it brings a little bit of joy to my life. And otherwise, what can otherwise be a bad night. Which, by the way, just to let you guys know, I have changed my strategy a bit. And I mentioned this a couple podcasts back, how to approach the rest of the season. I have increased the number of lineups I'm playing each night. So I've lowered, the entry fee. I used to play almost every single entry fee tournament on FanDuel, like the $50, $100, $300, sometimes even. I don't even know if there is a $300, but I think they had Other higher entry fees, that contests that had a small number of people. So the fact that, with teams tanking, we're getting late scratches like Big Sauce Williams on Tuesday, and, we get the Cavs news on Saturday. They rested the big three. I really don't feel like, putting in $100 entry fee in a tournament and then having someone ruled out after lineup lock. So I'm playing, I've lowered the entry fee contest that I'm playing, but I'm throwing in a lot more lineups. So that's going to be my strategy these last, 12, 13 games of the regular season. And then and remember, the regular season ends April 15th. And then once the playoffs start, then we can go back to playing the high stakes stuff. But there's still some good money to be had. But I think, to me, I really do think it makes more sense. The more lineups you have out there right now, if you're trying to win a tournament, I think that's probably one of the smartest strategies to do these days. And if that means instead of the $25 tournament, the slam, you play a two $12 contest, to me, I think that's worth it at this point. So Dream Killers. Let's start with our favorite, right? Golden State. Just the entire year, they're Dream Killers. So why stop? Why don't they just keep it going for all 82 games? They destroyed Dallas. I don't think a single freaking person on either side of that game hit value. I was super excited because I told someone on Twitter, if Missionary stacks Harrison Barnes, because he's really boring, he's mundane, and there's nothing really great about Harrison Barnes. Although it's still Sex, right? Sex is still good. So if you play him, he normally comes through. It's normally a good play, but it's not great. But if he, I think I said if he had like 6 times his salary, I would give him a new sexual position. But I can't do it. He didn't come through, so he's still Missionary Sex Harrison Barnes. But really, no one on either side came through. Golden State blew them out so fast. The entire game was an absolute dream killer. I mean, I think Clay may have been the closest one coming close to hitting value. Man, how about my can't miss play of the day yesterday, huh? Well, he missed Blake Griffin. Although you can't really blame Blake Griffin, although I still do. It's the Lakers. The Lakers are so freaking bad. They were basically down 30 points at the half. Now, I know a lot of you are lucky. You guys get to go to bed, at a normal hour, like 10, 11 Eastern or something like that. So probably, you didn't have to force yourself and watch that disgusting Lakers-Clippers game. And just be glad that you didn't, because it was a disaster. And, there's no reason that you should be down 30 points in a half if you're an NBA team. The Lakers are just that bad. So obviously no one from the Clippers played big minutes. And to make matters worse, fat Chris Paul, and by the way, now I'm calling him fat just because I'm pissed because he took all the shots. He took all the usage. So Blake didn't even get that many shots up. Chris Paul, basically came close to hitting value in only like 25, 27 minutes. But Blake in 25 minutes didn't come close to hitting value. On DraftKings, he was like 8K. I thought for sure if he got 30 minutes, how could he not hit value? But nope, didn't happen. So he was a dream killer. He was a soul crusher. And I had on DraftKings, I had Blake everywhere. And FanDuel, I still had a decent amount too, and it just did not work out. The one good thing about that game, if you play Lakers guys, the Lakers, they all played. Luke Walton still played all of his starters basically 35 minutes, even though they lost by 30 and they were down 30 at the half. He played Russell, Randall, Clarkson, Zubac, all basically like 35 plus minutes. Clarkson was a disaster. I think it was like 1 for 9, had just a disgusting game. But Ingram was really good. I told you guys yesterday, Ingram's getting more aggressive. So Ingram got 40 minutes, 8 of 14 from the floor, 21 points. He was a dream lover, actually. And Zubac was probably a dream lover, too. In 36 minutes, 8 for 14, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. So the Lakers guys, even though they stink as a team in real life, and in real life they're soul crushers, a couple of those guys still did okay. Randall did okay. Russell did okay. I actually saw Russell in the winning slam lineup, and Russell wasn't even that good. It was just if you played 2 value point guards, it allowed you to get the guys you needed to get in. The Jimmy Butlers, the DeMar DeRozans, and the Cousins. But for the most part, that game was an absolute disgusting disgrace. Fat Chris Paul. Pass to Blake Griffin. Why does Chris Paul need to shoot 17 times? Come on. Kawhi Leonard, dream killer, soul crusher. Second straight game now, Kawhi's really hurt me. I thought he was going to bounce back against Minnesota. Didn't happen. The weird thing about this game, if you watched it, LaMarcus Aldridge was shooting every time down the court. It was like Kawhi Leonard wasn't even there. He was like dead man walking. He's basically Courtney Lee standing in the corner. Now, he did have to exert a lot of energy defending Andrew Wiggins, but a super disappointing game for Kawhi. 7 for 13, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. At his salary, that's not going to get it done. So, F you, Kawhi. It cost me a lot of money, and I'm not a fan of that. Mirotic. Wow. You know, there's certain people that within the first 3-4 minutes of a game whether or not they're just going to put up an absolute dud or not. And Mirotic is one of those guys. And he started off really bad and just put up an absolute dud. Now, I mean, he still played 26 minutes. I mean, I was worried after he started off the game so bad he was going to get like 12 minutes. He may have had like 0 Fandle points in the first half. It was so bad. I think in the second half he actually made a couple shots. He was 3 of 9, 8 points, 2 rebounds. I mean, he was so cheap. I think you could. I mean, I still cashed in a couple of lineups I had him, but overall, super disappointing. Same with Denzel Valentine. I mean, that bum. I took a shot with him in some tournaments, in some large tournaments. He played 35 minutes. Also, that game, the Bulls Toronto game went to overtime. Lots of guys put up big numbers. Lots of guys had lots of minutes. Valentine had 35 minutes, 1 for 7, though, only 7 shots, 4 points. He's been gunning the ball, so only 7 shots. That was surprising. So he did not work out. If you played Paul Zipser, #Zipline, congrats to you. He actually for the Bulls went nuts in his 40-something minutes. The Bulls actually do love Paul Zipser. So once the Bulls fall out of contention, if they shut down Jimmy Butler and stuff, Paul Zipser is probably going to be in some winning tournament lineups. As disgusting and sickening as that sounds. So Reggie Jackson, I wrote down on my show sheet here, Reggie Jackson, 20 minutes of pure syphilis. That basically sums up his night. 3 for 9, 7 points. Detroit is battling for the 8th seed to make the playoffs, and they lost to Brooklyn. I mean, what else can you say? Like, I don't understand how much longer can Stan Van continue to start Reggie Jackson. Just bench him already. Like, start Ish Smith. Ish Smith was tremendous off the bench. Ish Smith was a dream lover. Where's his stats? He had 29 minutes, 8 for 15, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 freaking steals. Just an amazing night for Ish Smith. Reggie Jackson didn't play a second in the fourth quarter. When you can't attack Brooklyn, you have serious issues. I mean, Din Doodle was dancing circles around Reggie Jackson. So just soul crusher, disgraceful performance by Reggie Jackson. The Phoenix game. I don't know how the Phoenix even play. Oh yeah, fuck. I'm trying to block all these games out. So Phoenix, Miami, big letdown game, very bizarre game. Guys who we thought could have big games: Tyler Ulis, nope. T.J. Warren, nope. Dragic, nope. James Mother effing Johnson, hell no. Did he obliterate my lineups? How bad he played. But Tyler Ulis was bad. He wasn't bad. He just remember Tyler Ulis is one of those guys. Remember this happened to Terrence Ross a few weeks ago, right? We kept playing Terrence Ross, and then occasionally you have to remind yourself it's Terrence Ross. So remember, I think for Tyler Ulis, we got to take a step back. It's Tyler Ulis. I mean, on DraftKings, he was like 7.5K. I got caught up in it as well. I still thought he was a great play because he's jacking up shots. All the minutes in the world are there. He got 42 freaking minutes. But he's only took 11 shots, which is not horrible. He was 4 for 11 from the field, 9 points, 6 assists, 5 turnovers. The turnovers really hurt. On DraftKings, didn't come close hitting value. On FanDuel, didn't get there either. So he was a dream killer. It was a shame. Quite honestly, one of the news that came down on this slate that really impacted a lot was Devin Booker playing. I thought for sure that they would keep Devin Booker out, who's battling some knee issues. Why Phoenix played him, I'm not really sure. The fact that Devin Booker played, it hurt Ulis's usage rate. It hurt T.J. Warren's usage rate, and cost me some money ultimately. How about the mystery of Sauce Williams, huh? So Alan Williams, like I mentioned top of the show, he, to me, the second safest center on the slate, which is just such a safe play. So I quite honestly, going into it, I was surprised I didn't have more of him, but I still had a decent amount of exposure. It was a good play, and heard nothing all day. And started the second quarter, all of a sudden Phoenix says, oh, yeah, he's not going to play. He's dealing with a gastro issue, and that's that. Now, when I saw his ownership percentage, I was super giddy. I was doing jumping jacks and high-fiving the bailiff because that's how you win a tournament. You win a tournament by playing a good player who could put 6-7 times his salary, who's less than 5% owned. Now, the fact that he was so low owned right off the bat, I got nervous. And sure enough, I was nervous for a reason. He didn't play. And so I did some digging. I have a handful of guys who play professionally and couldn't find anything out. So some of my friends who put 500 lineups in certain contests a night because, again, they create accounts for their wife, for their siblings, for their kids, and they play so many lineups. It's my honestly, if you saw how they approach lineup lock and how many lineups they have is pretty insane. But I talked to at least, I'd say, 8 or 9 guys who do it professionally, and none of them were in on this collusion. I think obviously people were aware. I just haven't found the people yet. I'm still going to dig around a little bit, but certainly a lot of the sharks out there knew that Alan Williams wasn't going to play. What I want you guys to do is, since I didn't play, the $1 contest, $2 contest, some of the lower entry fees stuff. So I'm curious to what Alan Williams' ownership was in those contests. I know he was 3% owned in the Slam, which is the $25 entry fee. But if you guys could let me know his ownership, what it was, in some of the smaller stuff, I would like to know that. I want to see if it's also that low. But clearly Sharks were aware he was not going to play, because there's no godforsaken reason he was not at least around 18% owned. And if you go back and look at the previous slates, he's been, his ownership has been relatively high. So it's a freaking mystery. You know how it's the curious case of Benjamin Button? I love that movie. Curious case of Sauce Williams. And I'm going to keep digging on this, because when something like this stinks in the industry, it impacts all of us. Doesn't impact the Sharks, obviously, but for the regular player, this is something like this. We can't just sit back and allow this kind of crap to happen. So I'm going to keep digging around. Something certainly stinks. I mentioned James Johnson, 23 minutes. So the minutes were an issue. He only had like 10 minutes in the first half for Miami. 3 for 9, 10 points, 1 rebound. That's disgusting. He was like 6.4K. So at that salary, to put up like 14 FanDuel points, he single-handedly destroyed my lineups. I had maybe 40% exposure to him, at least on FanDuel. So that was a killer. Mike Conley. Conley for Memphis is a 2-person team. Sorry, I drink some water. It's Conley and Gasol. That's it. I mean, they have 75-year-old Vince Carter playing 40 minutes a night these days. But there's certain days where Conley this year I've watched, he just doesn't appear to have it. And this is one of those nights. So Conley was not good. Also, not surprisingly, Memphis got basically blown up by the Pelicans. Conley played 31 minutes, so the minutes weren't even great. The first half, he was abysmal. Second half, he picked it up a little bit. He was 6 of 14, 16 points, 3 assists. In the first half, he had 0 assists. Not a good sign when your point guard, who's over 8K, has 0 assists. Not to mention, he's not a scoring-reliant point guard either. So it's not Isaiah Thomas who's going to get you like 40 actual points. So when Conley had 0 assists, that was worth a gavel throw, and it just didn't come through. And he's been, he's been super consistent. So, I guess he's due a bad game, but it just sucks when it happens. Anyone on the Pelicans besides Boogie Cousins, Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday. If you tried to play Tim Frazier, he basically pulled 28 minutes of Courtney Lee and Tim Frazier started, only took 3 shots. That didn't work out. Anthony Davis was actually under the weather. So that was one of the reasons why it allowed all the usage in the world for DeMarcus Cousins, and Cousins went off and had a monstrous night. The last dream killer of the night, someone I didn't play at all in FanDuel, but I played him a little bit on DraftKings, and that's Giannis. And I don't know what his deal is, but if you look at him, maybe he's just tired because he had to carry the Bucks, and he plays every position. He's played hard all year, playing a ton of minutes. He's still 21, 22 years old. So he's just not worth. He's not even remotely close to being worth like 10K as a player. He should be like 7K. He should be like him and Andrew Wiggins should be the same price. So he shot 8 of 21, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. In the first half, he was horrendous. So he played a little bit better in the second half. The Bucks actually got a big win in Portland. But he's just a dream killer. And until that price drops, he's virtually unplayable. Man, I mean, that game was painful. And also the pace of that Bucks-Portland game. God, I think it was like 93-90. A lot of games on this slate, man, the paces were really bad. You had Brooklyn and the Nets. Brooklyn plays the fastest pace in the league. It was 98-96, that game. I mean, the highest over-under of the night was Toronto-Chicago. Now, they went to overtime, but still, the pace of that game also just was it was really high to begin with. Pelicans-Memphis, now that obviously not surprising. That was 95-82. So you had a lot of just disgusting games that took place in terms of pace. Dream lovers. There were some lovers. There was people making sweet, glorious love on this slate. DeMarcus Cousins. So he was the key to winning. If you wanted to win a car, a motorcycle, a boat, he was the key. 14 for 27, 41 points, 17 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, or something like that. He was great, and it was the usage. Anthony Davis was under the weather, so he got all the shots, but it was impressive because they were going. It was going up against Memphis, and he basically made Marc Gasol his little his little bitch. So it's impressive, and his price was too low. I mean, I mentioned on the show yesterday, as long as he's going to be under 9K, if you're a tournament player, you got to be playing him in at least one lineup. So he was still a good play because his price was it was so reasonable. But still he was under-owned because a lot of people still fear Marc Gasol. Rondo was great for the Bulls. I mean, Rondo and Butler were awesome, and so was #Zipline. Rondo, 40 minutes, 9 for 16, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. The good news, I had a lot of Rondo, I had a lot of Butler, but I had a lot of Kawhi too, and I had some Sauce Williams, so I had some dream killers ruining a lot of my good Butler and Rondo lineups. But Rondo, he's been for the most part great since he's been starting. Now, the Bulls, that loss hurts them, and they keep falling farther and farther away from playoff contention. And once they fall out of playoff contention, Rondo will not be seeing 40 minutes a night. But as long as he's starting, yeah, I mean, he's good. And quite honestly, he's the sole reason the pace of that game was that fast. I mean, the one thing Rondo's good at, he dictates pace. The point guard does dictate the game, the pace of a lot of games. And Rondo, if you watch the start of this game, from the get-go, Rondo was pushing the ball up and down. It was glorious to see if you roster a lot of guys in that game. Butler was really good. Jimmy Butler, 37 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He had over 60 FanDuel points, so he was terrific. The thing was, on this slate, because there wasn't a lot of guys to spend money on, so he was like 42% owned. So if you played him, it was great, but you couldn't get overly excited. Whereas Rondo was 9% owned. Obviously, so if you played him, that allowed you to differentiate your lineups. DeMar DeRozan, he's been bad for a while because Toronto's been bad without Kyle Lowry. And quite honestly, the Bulls were winning this game pretty handily. I think they were up 15 going into the fourth quarter. The game was basically over. That's when I started working on some IT issues with my with the stupid microphone and trying to convert files and Audacity and this nonsense. And I looked up and I'm like, what the hell? Toronto's basically tied the game. And DeMar DeRozan took 38 shots. Yeah, 38 shots. That's a lot of freaking shots. I mean, quite honestly, he didn't even play that well because he only had 42 actual points. If you score 42 actual points and you take 38 shots, there's nothing really impressive about that. I mean, I guess maybe the next day your arm's going to be sore, but, one-trick pony normally, right? But on this slate, he did have 7 rebounds, 8 assists. So he put up like 664 FanDuel points or so. His price also was pretty reasonable, especially on DraftKings, where I think it was under, it's been going down because he's been playing bad and Toronto's been getting blown out. So he also was a key to being in every winning lineup. Tobias Harris, one of the few guys from Detroit that showed up. He was great, over 40 FanDuel points, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Since he's been moved back into the starting lineup for Detroit, he's been good. So he was good. I've already mentioned Ish Smith. He's been playing better than Reggie Jackson for it seems like months now. So just start Ish Smith already. I don't know why they're starting Reggie Jackson. It doesn't make any sense. The first time all year I rostered Din Doodle. And he was great for Brooklyn. He was great. He really was. 30 minutes, 3 for 9 from the floor, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. The guy was like 3.9K, I think. I mean, he was like under 4K in all sites. So he was tremendous. As long as Lynn's out, I will be playing some Din Doodle, spin my fiddle. I'll keep playing that guy now. It was fun. And I quite honestly, watching that game, he looked good, which is weird because I've watched Brooklyn play a lot, and he's looked like crap. So I don't know if something's changed or what it was, but Brooklyn got a big win. And the one thing you can say, man, they play hard. Lakers, I mean, compared to the talent of the Lakers to the talent of Brooklyn, Lakers get blown out like every game, whereas Brooklyn stays competitive every game. So how about Coach Atkinson, Coach of the Year? I mean, and the other thing, everyone talks about how great of a coach Luke Walton is. Is he really that good of a coach? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Even though I hate Coach Atkinson's rotation, you got to give that guy some credit. Marquise Chris for Phoenix. He was still good for Phoenix, and so was Alex Len. Of course, Alex Len was, because you know why? My boy Big Sauce Williams, the mystery of Sauce Williams. Where the hell was he? He didn't play. So if you stumbled and bumbled and fumbled your way to playing Alex Len on this slate, you probably started giggling. He played 36 minutes, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks. Tyler Johnson for Miami, of course. Dragic sucked for the most part. James Johnson sucked. Who played great? Tyler frickin' Johnson. Go figure. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals. So dream lover for him. LaMarcus Aldridge, I mentioned he took 24 shots, 12 for 24, 26 points, only 5 rebounds, but he did have like 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was a dream lover. Damian Lillard continued his just really, really beautiful stretch. As much as I make fun of him for I call him Dame Judi Dench Lillard, and I will never stop calling him that because I just love that nickname. And also I love posting GIFs of Judi Dench. But he was really good again. 13 for 26, 31 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. Portland was a bad loss for Portland. I mean, how you lose that game, I don't really know. To a crappy Bucks team where Giannis stinks. The Bucks have no one. I mean, especially if Giannis is playing bad, how are the Bucks winning games? I mean, Middleton hit some shots, but then again, Portland's not very good either. But Damian Lillard, he was good. Dream lover. I mentioned Ingram and Zubac for the Lakers. They were both good. All right, that's it. All right, let's go to, where are we? Injury news, I guess, for this slate, right? Yeah, injury news for Wednesday. Only an 8-game slate. So I love 8-game slates. It's perfect. It's enough games where you can easily differentiate your lineups, but it doesn't, your head's not spinning around with 12, 13 games, and you're trying to figure out, oh my God, I mean, I can't figure out there's 1,000 guys I want to play. So an 8-game slate, that's beautiful. Now we saw it on Tuesday, but Tuesday was 8 disgusting games. Wednesday it's a better slate. Not a ton of injury news. Okafor is questionable still with that right knee. If he's out, we'll see how much Holmes' price went up. I haven't looked yet. If he's out, Holmes has been terrific. Hopefully he sits out because he stinks. Paul Millsap is still out. So Ersan Ilyasova, I know he let us down last game, but Millsap and Bazemore are both out. I still think Tim Hardaway Jr. and Ersan are both going to be good plays. Now, I think Prince is Tari on Prince. I think they jacked up his price on DraftKings. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see what his price is still on FanDuel. But I don't think I want to play some Tari and Prince on DraftKings at least. Robin Lopez. Oh, I didn't even mention this. During the Bulls game, like if you're watching it out of the blue, it's like Robin Lopez and Serge Ibaka start throwing punches at each other. So I mean, I can't remember the last time guys actually like threw legitimate punches. And it's funny if you watch, like if you YouTube it or just Google the video of this. I mean, like Robin Lopez legitimately is trying to hit Serge Ibaka through an actual punch. They both missed, but they're definitely going to be suspended. So I mean, the Bulls do play again on Wednesday, so Robin Lopez is going to be out. Who the Bulls going to start? God only knows. I mean, it's going to be Felicio, maybe Bobby Portis at the 5. So we'll have to see. But there's going to be some value for sure opening up for the Bulls. Wilson Chandler and Gallo are still both questionable. I think Gallo's actually doubtful. So Denver's in the best game of the night again. So all the Denver guys, we can fire them up again, man. Especially if Wilson Chandler's going to be out, and it looks like Gallo is out, and then Darrell Arthur is going to be out as well. Or Darrell Arthur is questionable. So if those guys are out, Hernan Gomez, of course, has been really good. Plumlee, I know let us down last game, but he's back in play. Jokic, he's expensive, but you can play some Jokic. And then you got guys like Murray, Nelson, Will Barton, Gary Harris. All those guys are in play. All the Denver guys playing Cleveland. It's going to be probably the best game to watch. And then Carmelo Anthony. Now, he's not injured, but there was a report that his minutes are going to be reduced for the rest of the season. Now, I don't know why they don't just shut him down, but less minutes, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for Porzingis. Now, I want to hear Rose's minutes down too, because there's no reason to play Carmelo and Rose another minute. Now, I guess the second the Knicks get officially eliminated from playoff contention, they'll shut Carmelo down, and hopefully Rose too. But at least the minutes are going to be down, so there's no reason to play Carmelo on this slate unless you just want to do it to be crazy. And yeah, I guess we'll wait and see if there's other news if they're going to, also limit Rose's minutes. All right, let's take a little flight to Vegas, shall we? And my favorite hotel to stay in Vegas is it's the Hard Rock. But you know what? I'm getting tired of the Hard Rock because some of the escorts keep looking at me. They're like, what, you know, so I think we should go to a different one. Why don't we go to the Bellagio? Let's go to the Bellagio. You know what? Let's bring some girls. You know, let's have some fun. So normally, I told you guys, I'm not a fan of the slot machine, but I'll play some slots. All right, let's do it. I think someone won. Did that guy win? Did you win, dude? Oh my God, he won! Wow. Congrats, man. Give me some of that money. So Vegas, Cleveland, Denver. I mentioned this game. 228 over under. Beautiful. Cleveland's only a 3-point favorite. Neither team plays defense. The reason they can play LeBron, you know, he can lead the league in minutes and play 38 minutes a night is because he plays no defense. None. Maybe in the fourth quarter, late. Otherwise, no, none. Kyrie's never played defense his entire career. So this game is just glorious on both sides. Obviously, Cleveland, LeBron, Kyrie, Love, Denver. I mentioned all Denver guys. Find a different way to play them all. Well, I mean, once we get into the plays at each position, we can go into a little more depth. But obviously, Murray, Nelson, Barton, Harris, Jokic, Hernangomez, Plumlee, all those guys. I will have exposure to every single one of those guys. Philly, OKC, second highest over-under of the night. OKC is an 11-point favorite, so I guess Vegas is a little worried about a blowout here. But Philly's like Brooklyn, man. They keep every game close for the most part. Sarge and Covington, I know Sarge got in foul trouble last game, so it kind of let us down. But those guys are obviously still going to be good plays. Holmes, really good play. Even TJ McConnell, because I like to attack Westbrook, who doesn't play any defense. And then for OKC, it's really Westbrook. I mean, will I torture myself and play Steven Adams? Yes, I will, because I like to do that to myself. Also, I'm curious to see how cheap Steven Adams is on this slate. Dear God, he's got to be under 5K. And who do we like to attack from Philly? Philly centers. So if this is it, if Steven Adams lets me down again, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. But there might not be a podcast tomorrow because I'm just gonna go ape shit on everyone. I didn't say the S word. I said ape schnizzle. So I think my podcast is still rated G, so I could get in trouble for that. I gotta change that, by the way. Atlanta, Washington, 214 over under. So Atlanta got blown out last game without Millsap and Bazemore. Wizards have been playing great for the last few months, but lately, the last week or so, they've looked a little tired, quite honestly, if you ask me. Wall seems a little banged up, a little hurt. Wizards only a 7-point favorite, but so that's still a game we can definitely attack. Then you got some disgusting games. Detroit, Chicago. Oh, the Pistons in play again. Yesterday I already said the Pistons have their own freaking ride at Magic Mountain. Maybe they need a whole different theme park. I mentioned yesterday I think we should name a Harry Potter ride after them. Someone else on Twitter mentioned to me there's a Harry Potter theme park. So maybe the Pistons are maybe that's where they are. They have the entire Harry Potter freaking theme park. That's where the Pistons are. That game is gonna be disgusting. The Knicks, Utah. So no wonder Melo doesn't want to play a lot of minutes against Utah. Utah's also a 10.5-point favorite there, 203 over under. Milwaukee, Sacramento, another really just turtle emoji game, 204 over under. And Charlotte, Orlando, 206 over under. So man, there's 3 or 4 games on this slate that are pretty disgusting in terms of pace. But even in those games, there's some cheap guys and value guys we can use. So, I love 3 things in life. One of them is not IT issues. That is not one of them. It is the bailiff. It is usage. Pace is number 3. Now, there's really no teams playing up in pace. Now, when I look at pace, I like to see a number that's significant to me, and I don't really see anything significant here. Now, OKC is playing a little bit up in pace against Philly. Cleveland a little bit against Denver. And Washington a little bit against Atlanta, but not really. So, yeah, there's really pace, nothing I want to attack. All right, let's hop into the top plays at each position. Where are we? FanDuel? Where are you? My bad. I didn't open up FanDuel yet. That's annoying. 1 second. Hang with the judge. All right. So as every slate goes, by the way, let me check the time. How are we doing on time? All right, it's 4:21 Eastern. So I have 19 minutes to do all of the plays. Dear God. All right, not great with time. We'll see. Westbrook. So whenever OKC's playing, that's the first question, right? Do we play Westbrook on an 8-game slate? Do the odds say that he will be in the winning GPP lineup? No, they do not, especially at point guard, which is always a pretty loaded position, as it is on Wednesday slate. So there's a lot of guys who I think could potentially give you 6-7 times their salary, who are pretty cheap. With that said, I will always play at least 20 to 25% Russell Westbrook in my lineups because he could go nuts. And he's playing TJ McConnell, he's white, he's slow, he's little, and he's probably going to shudder in fear when he sees Westbrook, coming, straight at him. So, and also Westbrook's, they got blown up by Golden State last game, coming off a really bad game. So I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. So yeah, he's totally fine. Now, 13K, he's got to give you, to take down a tournament, probably 75 FanDuel points or so. And quite honestly, even if he did that, it might not even be enough. Because even on FanDuel, if you put him in your lineup, your remaining 8 players, you only have 5.8K to spend. And on DraftKings, it's even less because you only get 8 players on DraftKings. So it's just hard to do it. But so far on this slate, there's not a ton of value that I can tell you. But there is some. So it's Westbrook. You always can play Russ or Brody. Why is his nickname Brody, by the way? I don't get that. Someone can tell me that. I would like to know. John Wall is 10K. To me, that's just overpriced. Remember, he had 20 assists, 20 freaking assists a couple days ago, and he only had 46 FanDuel points. So now I do like to attack Atlanta guards. I love to attack Atlanta guards. I make a living attacking Dennis Schroeder. So for that very reason, will I play some Wall? Yeah, but to me, man, that's so expensive. 10K for him. If he was 9K, I would pounce at that. But because it's Dennis Schroeder, and Dennis Schroeder, along with Isaiah Thomas, probably the 2 worst, and Kyrie Irving, probably the 3 worst defenders in terms of point guard. I like John Wall. Remember, last game, D'Angelo freaking Russell put up like 40 actual points against Kyrie Irving. That's how bad Kyrie Irving's defense is. And, I mean, against Dennis Schroeder, you can make a list. Every point guard in the NBA has destroyed Dennis Schroeder. Next, speaking of Kyrie Irving, though, he's next up. He's 9K at Denver, playing way up in pace, in the altitude. Yeah. Do I like him better than Wall in this slate? Yeah, I do. I mean, to me, the floor is very safe. He's got the floor on this, I mean, with a 230 over under, his floor's got to be, 35, 40 FanDuel points with a ceiling of maybe 60 on this slate. So safe for all formats. Man, I need some water. Man, maybe I'm getting sick again. Ugh. I think a little tingling going on in my throat. Man, the one thing I do, obviously you guys know I do a solo show, right? The one thing I do miss about not being able to do a show with another person is just getting a couple seconds to open up a new tab or click on a player or take a sip of freaking water. It's things like that make doing a one-man show hard. Not to mention your voice goes hoarse. And if you have a brain cramp too, then you're screwed, right? Because you're all alone here. And the other thing is a little bit lonely. Thank God the bailiff's here, but he's sleeping. Otherwise, I'm just talking into this weird screen every day for an hour at least. I could go mad. Need some contact with outside world. But I mean, doing a solo show, man, it's not as easy as you would think. Man, where am I? That's what I mean. See, I can't lose my place. You lose your place, there's no one to pick you up. No one's whispering in my ear. Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, that's where we are. We're Isaiah Thomas. So 8.6K. I haven't played Isaiah Thomas in a long time. And do I have any desire to on this slate? Nope, I don't. The only reason I want to is because the price is coming down and his ownership, I think, will be low. But other than that, yeah, no. Why do it? Avery Bradley's back. Usage rate's going down. He's still a one-trick pony. I mean, what signs indicate he's going to have a big night? None. So will he probably have a big night? Yes, he will. Yes, he probably will. Kemba Walker is 7.7K. So Kemba's coming off a string of 3 straight really bad games. I think he's on the verge of being shut down as soon as Charlotte falls out of playoff contention. But as long as he's playing, now his price is down a little bit. He's 7.7K, at least on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he might be even cheaper than that. I'm not sure. Let me check real quick for you guys. Because that's why I'm here. That's why the judge is here. Oh, he's still 8K on DraftKings. That sucks. So I like him a little bit more on FanDuel. That's fine. Tournaments only. I'm not super excited. Also, the pace of that Charlotte-Orlando game is going to be disgusting, but it's not horrible. Dennis Schroeder, 7.2K. Whatever. It's blah. John Wall is a sneaky good defender. I will have a little mini game stack of that game. The one thing with Bazemore and Millsap out, Dennis Schroeder's not shy about shooting the ball anyway, so his usage rate is going to go up. That makes me want to play a little bit of Dennis Schroeder. A little bit. Let me check what his price is on DK. Oh, he's 7.1K on DraftKings. That's a fair price, especially without Millsap and Bazemore. Elfrid Payton, 7.1K. I don't know. I think our little infatuation with him is over. He's been consistently good. He wants to be removed from Magic Mountain. He's been giving you like 35 FanDuel points consistently now for a few weeks, and occasionally he puts in a triple double and gives you like 60. Do I love the matchup for him against Charlotte? I don't love it. But it's fine. He's always a tournament play, and especially now since I'm playing more and more lineups. If I have 10 lineups, I probably would play Elf in 2. Jeff Teague. So Jeff Teague gets Isaiah Thomas defense. Jeff Teague finally had a good game against Utah. Now, does that make any sense? What I just said? Did you hear me? I just said Jeff Teague finally had a good game against Utah. Where's the sense in that? I mean, that should be the motto to DFS right there. Like Jeff Teague, who's been in like a 2-month long slump, he finally bounces back against freaking Utah. Yep, that's DFS. So now, obviously, a much better matchup here. Maybe he got some confidence back. Now, I love the price. His price is coming down. Isaiah Thomas is atrocious. He's 3'6" tall. He can't defend anyone. So yeah, I like Teague in tournaments. I really do. George Hill, I don't have a desire to play George Hill because ever since I had Andy Larson on, the Jazz beat writer, he told me George Hill has this big knot in the bottom of his foot and he can barely walk. So what's the upside here with George Hill? He's expensive. Now he's playing the Knicks. So just because the Knicks are so atrocious, I'll play him in like one lineup. Now, if George Hill wasn't hurt, if I find out he's feeling better, then I think he has a little bit of upside. But I've never been a big George Hill fan anyway. If you want to go to prison on a Wednesday, play Derrick Rose. He's against Utah. Not the best night to play him. So TJ McConnell, this is a sneaky ninja play. It's 5.6K. Very quietly, 2 out of the last 3 nights or last games, TJ McConnell, actually 2 of the last 4, he's been over 30 FanDuel points, and now he gets a Russell Westbrook defense. I like to attack a Westbrook defense. No one wants to play a goofy, small little white guy. No one. You know what? So know what that makes TJ McConnell on this slate? That's right. A sneaky ninja. Now, James Johnson. Then again, on Tuesday, I didn't tell you. I said James Johnson just a black belt. I didn't say he was sneaky, but he let us down. So TJ McConnell, it's fine. Now, is he probably going to be in the winning tournament lineup? No, I don't think he will be. But I think he's perfectly safe. Rondo, 5.4K. So remember, the prices for Wednesday slate were going up as Tuesday's games were already taking place. So Wednesday's price cannot reflect Rondo's 46 FanDuel point explosion. Now, it's a back-to-back for the Chicago. It's Detroit. The pace is going to be bad. But I told you, Rondo dictates pace. So Rondo is going to try to push the pace as fast as he can. And the one good thing about Rondo, even though he's not a young guy, he was benched a large chunk of the season, right? So I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about the back-to-back for him. I think that price is fair. If there's a bull, there's a couple bulls I probably will play on this slate just because, especially if Robin Lopez is going to be suspended. So, quite honestly, I think Rondo's fine. If you're still playing cash games, fine cash game play. Darren Collison, Last 2 games have been disastrous. So no thank you, probably. Unless I find out, like, Lawson, they're resting a bunch of guys. All the Kings have been doing weird things to us. Now, it's a 10:30 Eastern game, so the Kings could hold out 3-4 players. We have no idea who that's going to be. So if you play Kings, I'd probably do it in some smaller entry fee tournaments. Jameer Nelson, 5.2K. So he gets Kyrie Irving defense. I think it's a good bounce back spot. 2 games ago, he won me a lot of money against Houston. Last game, I faded him because I knew his ownership was going to be too high. I played Patrick Beverley instead of him. He disappointed. I think it's a nice bounce back spot against Kyrie Irving defense. 5.2K is a very fair price. He's still going to get 30 minutes. Remember, Denver's trying to win games. Denver is trying to battle Portland for the 8th spot. So they're playing, the little chunky Jameer Nelson 30-plus minutes because they don't trust Moutier to give him minutes. And late in games, he's going to have the ball in his hands. So this is a really good spot. Could he be in the winning tournament lineup? Yep, he could. Reggie Jackson, go F yourself. Brogdon, not really the day to play Brogdon. Although he's, you know what? Not horrible. I don't mind it. If he's 5K, he's a sneaky ninja too. Ish Smith, 4.3K. I really do think soon Stan Van's just going to bench Reggie Jackson. So is Wednesday going to be the day? If it is, Ish Smith's only 4.3K. So the pace of this game might not be great, but Ish Smith is probably going to get Rondo defense, which is atrocious. Also, he's just too cheap. So to me, he might be safe for all formats, but I think he's a really good tournament play. Jamal Murray's he's down to 4K on FanDuel. Yep, feel free to fire him up in tournaments. I know the last 2 games have not been great, but if he comes in and gets hot, he'll get a lot of minutes, and he's not shy about shooting. Shooting guard. Oh, great. Giannis is in play again. This is why it's hard being a DFS guy, because I had a lot of people on Tuesday yelling at me about how can I say I put like Giannis in a trash can emoji, and obviously in real life I still love Giannis, but in DFS, look, it's real life is different than DFS basketball, right? So in DFS right now, he's a emoji trash can. That's what he is. He's also 10K still, and that's too expensive. And do I want to play him on a back-to-back against Sacramento? No, I do not. Bradley Beal, he gets Atlanta defense, so I don't mind having him and Wall in the lineup, but he hasn't hit value in a while. Ever since I basically said on the show how much I love him, because he was him and the whole Washington team, like kind of what was January, February, and then right after the All-Star break, they were one of the best teams in the NBA. And then lately, they've cooled off a little bit. Nicholas Batum he's similar to Harrison Barnes in a way. I mean, when I was thinking of the missionary sex position reference to use on yesterday's show, I think it actually would have been better to use with Batum. But I didn't, because Batum, first of all, look how handsome Batum is. He may be the most handsome guy in the NBA. And he's got to be just an extraordinary lover. He's got to be just amazing in bed. And he's probably making love to a woman right now in all kinds of crazy, phenomenal positions. But with that said, do I want to play him in DFS right now? No, not really. Avery Bradley, it's just too expensive, man. I don't want to pay 6.5K for him. What is he on DraftKings? On DraftKings, he is set. What? That cannot be right. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's wrong. So he's 6.1K on DraftKings. That's a little bit better. I don't know. That's not a horrible play. To me, he's more of a cash game guy. So I don't love that. Play for tournaments. Will Barton. I mean, man, he's just the epitome of Magic Mountain. And so is his salary. It was 6.6, 5.8. Now it's 6.5. He does get Cleveland, so tournaments only. Feel free to use him. He could give you 10 or 50. No one knows. I certainly don't know. But I do know I'll play him at least in one lineup. Gary Harris, same game. Gary Harris, I never get right, ever. I never get right. He's cost me more money than anyone. Some games he's super aggressive. Other games he's not. But I'm pretty sure I played him when he put up like 2 FanDuel points a couple weeks ago. I also played him when he put up 18 against Boston. But besides those 2 games, the last 10 games or so, he's been pretty consistent. He's been giving you around 30 FanDuel points a night. So, yeah, he's basically fine, and he's in a great spot against Cleveland. And if he decides he wants to be aggressive, he does have upside at that price too. So, obviously a much safer play than Will Barton. Evan Fournier just taunts us, right? The price never goes up. He's still a good cash game play. Last 2 games, 28 and 32 FanDuel points. So, yeah, I mean, I can't argue against playing him. It's just boring. I'm tired of playing the Orlando guys. I mean, are there, but shooting guard's not a great position. I'm not a huge fan of Giannis. I don't like Beal and Batum and Bradley really. So I don't mind playing Fournier. Is there a lot of upside there? That's the problem, right? I don't know how much upside he has. Right, it seems like 30 FanDuel points is upside right now. Could that be in the winning lineup? I don't know. Tim Hardaway Jr. Now he has upside. Coming off a bad game, 15 FanDuel points, but the minutes were there, the shots are there. Bazemore's out, Millsap's out. Feel free to fire away in tournaments. He's going to put up 40 FanDuel points. I feel it. And if he doesn't, will I be surprised? No, because it's Tim Hardaway Jr. Remember, this is one of the guys we say, Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. Wait, it's Tim Hardaway Jr.? You can't trust Tim Hardaway freaking Jr., but he does have upside, so we play him in tournaments. KCP, 4.7K. That's too cheap again. He was chalk on against Brooklyn. He paid off. 27 FanDuel points. Was he great? No. But at that salary, does he have to be great? No, he doesn't. To me, he's fine again. And Stan Van, unlike Reggie Jackson, he does love KCP. So KCP is going to get minutes. He got 35 on Tuesday. He'll get that again on Wednesday. If he's making shots, he can put up 40 FanDuel points. I have no issues using him. If you have a KCP, Tim Hardaway Jr. lineup as your 2 guards, totally on board. Buddy Hield. If there's a Sacramento guy I'll play, it'd probably be Buddy Hield. 34 FanDuel points on last game out. And there's no reason why Sacramento shouldn't give him all the minutes in the world, right? They think he's Steph Curry, so he's cheap. Tournaments, why not? Denzel Valentine. I will go back to the freaking well because he got 35 minutes. Didn't work out for me on Tuesday, but I will play a little bit of Valentine. I don't love it, but it's okay. Garrett Temple, somewhat of a sneaky play for Sacramento. And then I'll just mention Rodney Hood just because I feel the need to mention Rodney Hood and how he kills me every night that he plays. Well, Rodney Hood's 3.9K. So if he's playing, in real life, he's talented. Now, he's dealing with so many injuries, but yeah, I'm stupid enough to play him in one lineup. Remember, like my strategy is to win when I play tournaments. It's to win them. Like if I finish dead last, I could care less. I'm totally fine with it. Quite honestly, in tournaments, I know going into it, because remember, every lineup I play, I shoot for 3 guys that are less than 10% owned. Guys are less than 10% owned for a reason, right? On paper, they're not great plays, but they do have upside. Is Rodney Hood one of those guys? Yeah, he is. Will he probably let me down? Yes, he will. But that's why you play him in tournaments. So you play him in like a $1 tournament. LeBron against Denver is probably a lock and load for me on this slate. Even if he's bad, what's his floor against Denver? 50? Who's going to guard him? Who? Tell me. Wilson Chandler? He's not playing. Gallo? Not playing. Darrell Arthur? Not playing. Fareed's one of the worst defenders in the world. Plumlee? No. Murray? Barton? I have no idea. Gary Harris? I guess Gary Harris. I mean, I have no idea who's going to guard him. Really don't. LeBron, lock and load. Even though he's 11.1K. Jimmy Butler. This one I'm not sure what to do with. 8.9K. I played 44 minutes. That was a bad loss for the Bulls. Man, it really hurts their playoff chances too. So, yeah. Hold on. Oh, my bad. I messed up. You know what? I was gonna use my music. My can't miss play of the day for LeBron, but that's too easy. That's something like Roto Trash would do. Let me think of someone else to use it for. So Jimmy Butler, it's not a great matchup. I don't know what to do here, man. I'll have exposure, but since I'm paying up for LeBron, I'm not going to go crazy with Butler. Gordon Hayward, I don't know. So he had one good game. He had one good game in 2017, and his price went up. He's 8.5K. That's to me, that's insane. Am I paying 8.5K for Gordon Hayward on an 8-game slate? No, I'm not going to do it. You can't force me to do it. And no. Oh, hell no. Now, on DraftKings, he's 7.4K. That's more like it. Would I pay that price tag? Probably against the Knicks, sure. But 8.5K? No. Paul George, 8.3K against Boston. He's been one of the few Indiana guys who's been relatively consistent, which is scary because they're all year long he's been inconsistent. But last couple of weeks he's been pretty good. He put up over 40 against Utah. I don't mind Paul George, but at that price, I don't see monster upside for him either. So I don't love it. It's okay. Covington, yeah, I love Covington. What's not to love? Now he gets Robertson defense, makes me a little nervous, but 50 FanDuel points against Orlando. He fills up the stat sheet. If you watch a Philly game, he's everywhere. He's up and down the court. He's grabbing rebounds, jumping into the stands. I love Covington. So he's always a great tournament play, in my opinion. The price is not cheap though now. So, could he now? I mean, it used to be where if Covington had a bad game, he couldn't kill your lineups. Now he can absolutely obliterate your lineups. He could pull a James Johnson to your lineups, and he's expensive on DraftKings too. He's 7.3K in DraftKings, so he's not cheap. And small forward, remember, if we're playing LeBron, we only got one other spot to excuse me, so only got one other spot to play. So we'll probably be somewhat low owned. Carmelo. So Carmelo's only 6.9K, but the minutes are allegedly going to be down. So, if he plays 30 minutes, I'll play him in one lineup. If we hear he's going to get under 30 minutes, then I will have zero exposure. Otto Porter, the man without a usage rate, he's been bad. Not to mention they've been playing Bumdanovich some minutes. So I don't feel the need to play Otto Porter. Never really play him anyway. Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is just a boring, nice cash game play. So it's okay. Wow. Then after that, then you go like Tony Snell, Joe Ingles, Bumdanovich. All right, so Taurean Prince is 3.9K. So on DraftKings, I thought he was much higher than that. Yeah, so he's 5K on DraftKings. That's expensive. But on FanDuel, he's still 3.9K. He's still getting a ton of minutes, and the usage is really good too. He got 30 minutes the last 3 games. So on FanDuel, man, safe for all formats. Feel free to employ him at will. And Terrence freaking Ross, man, he coming off a good game for him, and his price didn't go up at all. 3.9K still. That's too cheap. Remember, Terrence Ross can play like crap and still hit 6 times his salary. And if, God forbid, he starts making some shots, he's going to help us win a tournament. So the Prince and Ross show, I like both those value guys. So I'll have a lot of LeBron with some Ross, with some Prince, at least on FanDuel. Some Covington mixed in there. All right, power forward. Got to speed this up. I'm already over an hour. God dang it, I failed. I failed at my mission. Jokic, 10.3K. I just don't play much of him these days. To me, it's just too expensive. And if I can choose between LeBron and Jokic, give me LeBron. I mean, Jokic was really good last game, and he only got 47 FanDuel points. Like that's not enough to win a tournament. So I'll play him a little bit, but I don't love the play. Even though I love that game, it's just, man, like if you use him, like that's the thing. I love that game, but I prefer a lot of the other cheaper parts in that game. Kevin Love, give me some Kevin Love. He's 2.5K cheaper. Could Kevin Love outscore Jokic? Of course he could. So yeah, Kevin Love to me, elite tournament play. Dario Saric, I love him too. Him and Covington, man. He got in foul trouble last game. Other than that, though, he's been brilliant this year. So yeah, no issues using Saric at 7.6K. I mean, Saric is almost $3,000 less than Jokic. So could Saric outscore Jokic? Yeah. Marvin Williams, 6.7K. I just like other guys better. So he's still been good. He's still clumbing around here, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling his way. He thinks it's 2011. He's the number 2 pick in the draft all over again. Maybe I'll rethink that. I like attacking Orlando bigs, but that's not cheap. And I don't know. I mean, why is Charlotte going to keep giving him big minutes? But he's been good. So if you do it, I cannot argue. Porzingis gets Utah. But If Melo's minutes go down, dude, this is going to be a tough matchup for Utah. First of all, who's going to guard Porzingis on the perimeter? I'm not sure. Joe Ingles? Joe Johnson? So Porzingis could put up a pretty good number here, and his price is very fair. He's probably going to be low owned against Utah. So I really like that play a lot. Holmes, 6.1K. Wow, so they jacked up Holmes' price. Rightfully so. What is Holmes on DraftKings? Let's see. 6.2K on DraftKings. Yeah, so Holmes is not cheap anymore. Man, I know he put up, last game, 50 FanDuel points, but before that, his ceiling is around 30. So now he needs 30 to hit value. I don't love it. I don't. So, yeah, it's probably a fade for me on this slate, which is a shame. Frank Kaminsky. Now, Frank the Tank, Charlotte's might as well play the young guys. He's been getting 30, he got 36 minutes last game, 29 FanDuel points. He's not cheap, but, Frank Kaminsky or Holmes, oh, God, that's tough. It's actually pretty close. But I think Frank Kaminsky has some more upside, man. I really do, which is bizarre to say. Maybe I'm drunk. It's 5 a.m. I don't know. But I do like Frank. I do think he's an okay play on this slate. I don't love the game, though. The Charlotte-Orlando game is going to be so disgusting. The thing is this, though, also. So they're basically they're still using Frank at the 5, right? And who's like the worst defensive center in the league? Vucevic. So Kaminsky's going to get Vucevic, and he's going to be able to take Vucevic out on the perimeter and shoot some three-pointers. So the more I think about it, Kaminsky is a really nice tournament play. Aaron Gordon, I don't know. This guy just bores me to death. He's fine. He'll find a way to get you 26 FanDuel points. He'll also find a way to go a quarter with giving you 0. He'll have 14 FanDuel points at halftime. You'll look up in the fourth quarter and he'll have 16 FanDuel points. I don't know. Thaddeus Young. Wow, Thaddeus Young is falling off the face of the earth. I don't. There's rumblings that he's still injured. He's so cheap. Indiana's battling for playoff spot too, so whatever. You can play him if you want. Ursan's 4.5K. I love this play so much. I couldn't click on this button fast enough. He's coming off somewhat of a bad game against Charlotte, where Atlanta got blown out. He's always been a fantasy point per minute monster. So if he gets 30 minutes, which he should without Millsap, and Atlanta also needs to win some games, I think, although I'll double check that. I just can't envision him not getting you 30 FanDuel points. So 4.5K, I love the play. You know what? I'm going to do it. This is crazy to do. This is risky. Roto Trash would not do this. Ersan Ilyasova, my can't-miss play of the day. You gonna miss me. You miss me, man. You're gonna miss me. Not gonna miss you. Don't wanna miss a thing. Ersan Ilyasova. Don't let me down, man. Don't let me down. Do not James Jones me. Do not James freaking Jones me. Mirotic. Yep, I will go back to the well on Mirotic. You guys know I love recency bias, right? So I have a spreadsheet. Who's the second guy on my spreadsheet who's coming off a bad game, who I want to play on Wednesday? Mirotic. Honestly, saying that out loud, do I really want to play him as much as I just said? As enthusiastically as I just said? No, I don't. But will I play him? Yes, I will. I'm a little nervous about it. But also remember, Robin Lopez is going to be out, so it opens up even more minutes. The Bulls still do have to win games. Even though I think there's zero chance they make the playoffs. But yeah, he's going to, Mirotic, he's weird. So it's a bad game, bad spot. He'll probably go nuts. Very cheap. Other than that, that's about it. You got John Lure, you got Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis. Portis will be in play too, as if Lopez out. Oh, my boy Hernan Gomez. Forgot him. Of course, Hernan Gomez. All the Denver guys are hurt. Hernan Gomez, the price never goes up on DraftKings on FanDuel, because FanDuel's an idiot. So he's 3.8K, dirt cheap. On DraftKings, I'm sure he's much more expensive because DraftKings is proactive. Yeah, he's 4.7K on DraftKings, so a little tougher to play on DraftKings. I love him on FanDuel. Hernan Gomez. Ersan and Hernan Gomez. You could do Ersan and man, that's tough. And I guess or Kevin Love and Ilyasova. Power forward is stacked. I love power forward. A lot of guys like to play on this slate. Center, Rudy Gobert. So wow, Gobert's price is jacked up now, 8.8K. No one plays him anyway. Every freaking slate, he's 5% owned, 3% owned, 8% owned. I had him last week at 0.8% owned. 0.8. Now, since then, he's put up 2 games of over 50 FanDuel points, and now he's 8.8K. And now he gets the Knicks, which are one of the worst teams defending centers in the history of civilization. So a blowout concern a little bit, but if you want to play Rudy Gobert, can you? Yeah. To me, that's expensive. But could he put up 50? Yeah, he's done it twice in the last 3 games. Vucevic, he gets Charlotte. I like attacking Vucevic. I also like playing Vucevic. So he's been good last 2 games. He's been 46, 45 FanDuel points. So who's going to guard him? I mean, Frank Kaminsky cannot defend him, and he can't defend Frank Kaminsky. So safe. I mean, quite honestly, safe for all formats right now. He's Orlando's best player by far. It's not even close. So, I mean, I don't mind. The more I think about it, I don't mind teaming up a Peyton with a Vucevic on this slate. Andre Sleepy Drummond. So without Robin Lopez, who's going to box out Drummond? Now Drummond's going to fall asleep against Brooklyn. He put up 40 FanDuel points, so that's what he needs to do. Against the Bulls, should he do that again? He should, but it's Andre Drummond. He's a tin man. He's sleepy. He's a misanthrope. He just a very puzzling, perplexing individual on the court. He's regressed. But yeah, on this slate on paper, really good play. The Bulls have, I mean, besides him, I guess Felicio. By the way, what is Felicio? He's a center. So Felicio, by the way, is 3.5K. He played 16 minutes on Tuesday. I would guess he's going to start. I guess. I mean, Bobby Portis is too small to guard Drummond, I would think. So Drummond's in a good spot. Dwight Howard, I said yesterday's show, Dwight Howard, or 2 shows ago, I don't remember when it was. I said he sucks. He sucks. Where's the upside? I mean, non-existent. My back hurts too. Honestly, when I think of Dwight Howard, I think about my own back pain. I've been having back trouble for the last few months. I heard it working out. It's a killer. So I can only imagine trying to play basketball with it, like Dwight Howard is he's dealing with these back issues all year for the rest of his career. You would think without Millsap and Bazemore, he'd be in play. But do I really want to do it? No, I really don't. He's cheap. He's 6.8K, very fair price, and he's going to be low owned. No one plays him. Al Horford. About 2 weeks ago, he was missing. He was missing Richard Simmons. Which, by the way, that podcast is now over. That was my favorite podcast. The last episode sucked. Talk about a soul crusher. That was the worst last episode ever. I mean, nothing is revealed. Richard Simmons, he's still trapped in his own freaking. He's held hostage, I think, in his house somewhere. We learned nothing. So very disappointing for that podcast. But Al Horford 2 weeks ago was missing. Last 3-4 games, he's been great. Very fair price, decent matchup, so he's fine. With Isaiah back though, I still don't love that. Miles Turner, tournaments only. I don't know. I mean, Indiana is such an enigmatic team. Tournaments, you can do it in tournaments. We like attacking Boston bigs, right? He'll be less than 5% owned. So if you're trying to take down a tournament, you can play Turner. He's a sneaky ninja too. Plum Dog, Mason Plumlee. Yep, I love recency bias. He's the number 4 guy on my list of recency bias coming off a bad game. I still think he's safe. So fine for all formats against Cleveland. And Cleveland cannot rebound the ball at all. Now, I know Love is back. That helps them with rebounding. But still, Tristan Thompson. What? First of all, Tristan Thompson's undersized. And he tries hard, but Plumlee should be able to have his way with Triscuit. Speaking of Triscuit, 5.1K against Denver. I don't know. I mean, think about it, right? There's going to be a tons of extra possessions, so a lot of extra rebounds. So maybe Triscuit could grab some of those. Although I think Love being back hurts him a little bit. But I'm not the worst play in the world, although I'm never a fan of playing Triscuit. He's like an 8% usage rate, which means he'll take 2 shots probably in the game, and they'll both be like off of offensive rebounds. Steven Adams, here we are. My arch nemesis comes after an hour and 15 minutes of the show. At the end of the show, so the last 2 games, 8 and 40. Go figure. I played him the night he had 8. Before that, he's been, right around 20 FanDuel points or less, and I don't understand it. He had 1 rebound last game. I went back and watched it just because I sat in shock and awe that he had 1 rebound against Golden State. Now he gets Philly. Every center destroys Philly. Everyone, every freaking center. I will play Steven Adams on this slate. I might play a lot of him. Then again, it's 5:02 in the morning, and I'm a little crazy at this hour. So, but in all seriousness, do I like the play? I do. Now, I cannot love it because it's Steven Scissorhands Adams. But if he can't do something here, then he should go back to Australia or wherever he's from. That's about it for center. All right, that's it. That's the slate. It's a fun slate. So the slate's it's better than it was on Tuesday. So I think we'll have some fun with it. All right, that's it. That's the show. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to tweet at me at Daniel A. Green 1. Also, please rate, review, and subscribe. I really do mean that. It means a lot to me. Doing these podcasts is freaking challenging, man. I am exhausted. And then also, please download the app Draft. Use the promo code DFBPOD. Please be a dream lover to the judge. Do those 3 things. Also, when I tweet out the show, retweet the show. So yeah, do those things. And then I love you. All right, guys, that's it. So for the bailiff, for a tired judge, court is adjourned.